Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Low Budget Productions now presents Rockstar. Hey Rockstar. Hey Rockstar. Hey Rockstar. Hey Rockstar. Hey Rockstar. 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 Hey Rockstar, welcome. This is a storytelling platform designed to empower you to build yourself up physically, spiritually, mentally, socially, and financially. Why stories? Because stories live on. They are eternal. They are a powerful reminder of what one can accomplish when opportunity presents itself. So listen carefully, learn the lessons, apply them to the Big Five, and become the rock star of your industry. Rockstar, welcome back to the show. I'm so glad that you can make it back, y'all. You guys have been saying such great things about all the value that we bring to you guys, but hey, I'm just honored to be here because you guys know that this is a storytelling platform where we want to share with you values that you can take and then run and grow physically, spiritually, mentally, socially, and financially. So then you can go and become the rock star of your industry. Spread the word, share it with your friends, let them know we're going live because we got a great show for you today, episode 17. And yes, it is an interview with a rock star. If you have any questions, if you have any questions, go ahead and send it to my lovely assistant here. It's Miguel. He's standing by to take an answer to any of your questions. But other than that, I almost brought in the man of the hour, you know? So, Rockstar. This next guest, this next rockstar that we have for you guys today is a literal rock star. He has about 19 solo records written, produced, mixed, mastered, and they're all played, and you can find them on Spotify, on iTunes, and all other digital outlets. This man is an artist. He is a writer. He is a touring and studio multi-instrumentalist, and he's become a real dear friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the one and only Rico Thomas.
Hey,
welcome to the show, Rico.
how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Oh my gosh, it's been such a good day. You know, today the sun came out, although it was cold. It was still
I
cold.
hear you, man. What's up with this weather, man? 65 one day and 30 the next, man.
Yeah, where I come from, that's twister weather, but thankfully we are not there because we are getting kind of close to that time of year where last year it all went downhill. Remember that?
Oh, I hear you, man. Yeah, right with the wind, right? Just about blew Nashville over. So,
Well,
hey,
Rico, I want to appreciate you for coming today, to agreeing to share some of your stories and
sure,
just
bro.
being just willing. So I guess where we start is just, if you don't mind, just share us a little bit about your journey, wherever you want to start to where you are today.
I hear you, man. Hey, it's been a long road, man. I started many years ago. I started at 7 years old, playing guitar, and grew up in a little town in San Pedro, California. And man, everybody played music, man. It was so inspiring, and pretty much, it was just all around me. And I started learning by ear how to play guitar, and one thing led to another, and hung out with all these older guys, and just would pick up stuff from them, and spend a lot of time in a room practicing music, and playing around with everybody in town in garage bands. And it all started as a little kid, man. I've been just just going along for the ride, man. I didn't know it at the time, but God had some big plans for me. I just have a love for this, and it just kept transpiring into bigger and bigger and better things through my life. And it's interesting how you start out doing something not knowing. I think you talk about Rockstar and the show and all that. It's crazy. I never considered myself that, but as a young kid, we look up to rock stars. We watch them, and we're like, that's all I thought about when I was 10 years old, was like, I want to inspire to be that. I want to be on a stage like that someday, and I want to do this. And that's what kind of kept me going, and I just kept doing it, and no other intentions other than I just love playing music, and I worked really hard at it. And so that's been my journey as a young kid. I started studying music very intensely. Started studying jazz at 14 years old. I grew up playing rock, blues, and pop, and soul, and R&B, and all this stuff, and just wanted to branch out into numerous types of music. But once I really started, getting into my studies, that's when the whole thing just kind of took off. I had some really great teachers at a young age. Took a lot of private lessons one year after another. I'd go through teachers, man, like one after another. Like I'd be on with one, and it's like, hey, we need to send you over here now. We're gonna put you with this guy. So that's kind of the journey, and Ronnie Este was a big influence to me. He was a GIT out in Hollywood, and he was a jazz player. And so he would send me to play for him, like to sub for him on his gigs. So here I was at 15 years old, and I was out here playing in jazz clubs, for him. And so I did that for some years while studying with him. And then I, of course, graduated to some other teachers in my life. And but yeah, drove my music school teacher nuts, man. She was just, like, I don't know what to teach you anymore. Like I'm going, I'll tell you one thing. There's this book called The Thesaurus of Scales and Melodic Patterns. Okay, this is a book that John Coltrane studied out of, evidently, I heard. So I go, man, I need to learn about this book. So I was taking this book to her, and I'm like showing her this stuff right here, right? Like, like, what does this mean? What are these notes, and how do I apply this stuff, right? Hey, I think you disappeared. Are you still there? Hey man, you still there?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway,
my clicker gets stuck recently.
Yeah. So this book took me to whole other levels. Like it's got every kind of scale, and it's for composers and musicians and whatever, and classical players. But I would read these notes and these intervals, and that interval thing just opened up a whole other world to my playing. It wasn't just a 5-note blues scale or a minor scale or dominant, so whatever it was. But it's like this opened up these intervals and patterns that Coltrane played with. He was one of my heroes growing up. And I would sit there for hours with this book, man, just reading through this stuff, and just let it all sink in. But it definitely took me in some different directions. Gotcha. But I've had many of these books, I know this is a long, drawn-out answer to your question.
Well, I was asking about your journey. Whatever you need to share to.
Yeah, it's been a long journey, man. There's so much to share. There's so much I've been through, and so many years of doing this. Another great teacher of mine I have to share, because these people were very inspirational in my life was Ted Green. And this book here, it's Modern Chord Progressions. And this guy was a genius. And if you just take a look at that,
Wow.
that's just 2 pages.
I'm going to zoom in on you.
Yeah. Okay. That's just 2 pages of inversions and chords, right? Now I went through this whole book. He's got a couple of them. You know, you can't always use all this stuff, you know, because, you know, I've been a pop player my whole life. I've been playing pop music. I made a living at it my whole life. But all this knowledge I absorbed at a young age, very young age.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like pick it up, and it's like playing basketball. You know, it's just natural.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I can go on about teachers I had, but that's just part of my teenage years growing up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Well, I'm just curious, where and who have you worked for over the years?
Oh man. Well, we got to go back to my career on the West Coast.
Okay.
And it's funny because I'm so diverse, man, with everything. I played so many different kinds of music. I even played punk music for some time, you know. And so, and of course, I grew up with rock, blues, and jazz and all that stuff as well. But yeah, rock, pop. But yeah, so on the West Coast, man, I played clubs for years. Smoky, dingy clubs, beach clubs, you know, to a good part of my 20s. Like right out of high school, I got a tour. So 1 week out of high school, I was out on the road playing professionally with Don Cunningham and company. And Don took me all over the place. And it was my first professional gig. Prior to that, I was playing in town, but I played parties. I played like bars. I played in bars when I was 15 years old. In and out of bars, they would kind of push me to the side on our break, say, "Hey, you stay over here. Don't be going out over there." So, you know, they let me play, but I was able to play and sneak me into these clubs. So I was playing clubs. My mother she knew all about it. She just kind of let me do my thing. Yeah, man, I went from that to getting this big job, which was some older guys at the time, probably in their 30s, maybe. I was just right out of high school, and we toured all over the place. And a really cool highlight of that is that we were in the Bahamas playing for like a month. We had an engagement over there, and Lou Rawls came in and his band, and we're playing over there on Nassau Island in a big resort hotel. It was amazing, you know. And he comes in, and the guys are out there listening to us, and the guys came up in the band. They go, "Hey, man, we love your playing, and we need somebody. We would like you to play with Lou." And I'm like, "Really?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, when you get back to LA?" I said, "Well, probably another 3 weeks or so." And they go, "Oh man, we need someone now," you know. So I kind of missed out on another progression of my career there, but it's okay. It wasn't meant to be. So, but that was kind of cool. And then after that, I got back into town. I stayed in town. I did some things. I played locally around town again. And that's when I started getting into the club vibe and doing all that stuff. So yeah, that's a big part of that. That's part of section of my career. That, you know, it's funny how one thing leads to another. Mm-hmm. If you want me to continue on this same question?
Well, let me actually interject something.
Okay. Yeah.
Normally, for now, I've been bringing people in my network, and a lot of people, I like to share how we got to know each other.
Sure.
Rico and I actually met at NAMM, right?
That's right.
It was, actually, I think the first time I saw you from afar, I didn't know who you were, but I saw you from afar, and I just saw a lot of people drawn to you, was at Tempo, when they had that pre-NAMM event where like these geeks came or to do some software things. They had this little show there, and I saw you, I noticed you, but I didn't know who you were. You were at the time, because I have another story about me. Although I have done music, I am in the music industry. I don't know everyone in the music industry as intimately as other people know them. But and I have a funny story to share with everyone about Enrico's involved in this story, as well as Alex Tinker, who got interviewed a few months ago. But anyway, it wasn't until the day that NAMM started, I was given a ticket to go in for free, so it was a blessing. And I showed up, and I ran into Alex and another friend, and and he's like, "Oh yeah, my dad's friend is here. I want to introduce you to him." And that's who you were. You were apparently his dad's friend from California, and I still didn't know who you were. We were just hanging out.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It was a small little motley crew of us that were just hanging out. We'd go for the breakfast because they had a good breakfast.
Dude, I love the breakfast at Nam Show. Yeah.
And then we were just checking out all the scenes, and then it wasn't until we got to the guitars that you and Alex really just got into the guitars, just jamming out, testing them out, playing them up. And I'm like, all right. And I turned to our mutual friend. I'm not gonna mention his name just because to respect him. But I'm like, who is he? He goes, well, he plays for some band, well-known band here, a Christian band. Like, okay, now I got to know who it is. So finally, when you and I were just one-on-one, and I got to talking to you, like, all right, who are you? What do you do? What do you play? When you tell me the band you're playing with, and I'm not sure if we're allowed to mention them or not.
Yes, sure. Yeah.
I was like, I remember that song. I remember that band because they inspired me to do, actually, the cover that I played a while back, People Get Ready.
Yes.
I did a cover of y'all's version, or at least the band's version, because I think that song was first released before you started playing with them.
Yes.
But I'm sure you've played it a lot of times because it's a song that's now well known. So anyway, Rico and I met here, and then I thought you were still in California. You're just here for now.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
But then they explained to me, or you said that you're local. So that's when we started hanging out. That's when we started. Trying to hang out. Then life just got busy. When I was working as a technical director, shows after shows, I just didn't have a life. And of course, then you started touring again. And then of course, 2020 happened, and
there we go. There goes social. There goes our social life.
So, something you did mention. But I kind of just want to. I know this is important to you, but where did God enter into the picture?
Well, let me go back just a hair.
Okay.
Just from a young kid, I was baptized at a very young age. Probably, I don't know. My mom can't remember what she told me. 6 months of being born or something crazy or whatever. But I grew up Catholic. So our family was Catholic, and that's all I did my whole life until moving to Tennessee. But I'll back up right before my Tennessee stuff because that's very important to me. And that was, you may have a question. Okay, so I finished I'm doing my club stuff, right? That led me to a club in Manhattan Beach I was playing one time. And this is such a great story because at that particular club, someone came in from Lenny Kravitz's band. And it was Lenny's bass player's cousin who used to go down to there and listen to us play. And at the time I was singing and playing Lenny Kravitz songs. I think I did 2 of them. And we played top 40, current pop songs or whatever. And he goes, he got my number through another person in the band that knew me. But I went out of town for the weekend. I was in Vegas. This is back before cell phones and all that stuff happened, where we had a machine sitting at home, a little answering machine, and I get back and there's this call and it's, hey, so-and-so from, it's what's his name's cousin. And Lenny wanted you to come down and play with us this weekend. And I'm like, oh my Lord, I'm like, are you serious? And that's when he got his guy he's had for like 30 something years now, whatever. So I missed out on the opportunity with Lenny to go play with him. I mean, who knows how it would have turned out, but at least it was a call and a thought, at the time in my career. And so that didn't happen. But shortly after that, it's funny how God works. But right after this happened, and I'll get to the God part of your question, but what happened was another person came in that knew someone in the band. And he was from Michael Damian, who was a big pop star at the time. He's on Young and Restless and all that. And he came in and he says, man, I'd like you to come up and play with Michael. He's looking for somebody. He's got this big #1 song and we're going to be touring big. And we need to find somebody. We think he'd be perfect. So I go up to Calabasas where Michael went to his home and sat in a room and we all jammed and played and I got the gig. And so this was such a big pivotal point. And I guess one of them I've had many, but this is a big moment in my career, So that started. So anyway, I did the Michael and Damian thing for about 5 years. being on the Young and Restless, touring with Michael, playing on his records, doing studio work at Weird Brothers Studio up in North Hollywood, doing all kinds of stuff like that. And I did that until it ended. And during that time, I had my own band playing around beach areas, and everything was just coming to an end. All the accounts were coming in. Michael lost his deal with A&M Records. It just seemed like, what now? Like I can keep playing clubs, but that's not what I'm used to at this point in my career. So I decided to move to Nashville, and got up, just packed up some of my accounts in LA. I asked them if they knew anyone in Nashville. I said, yeah, call this guy. So pack it up, man. And I drive to Nashville, and I'm calling these people like, hey, can you help me? Like, I'm new in town. I do session work. I do whatever, So I got hired on some sessions. And funny story is, one of the sessions I went to, I go in with my combo amplifier and a pedal board with all these like vintage pedals on it. And the producer's like, man, if you're gonna work in this town, you're gonna have to have a refrigerator rack the size of that doorway over there. And meaning, the guitar racks that were, just giant, as tall as I was back in the day. And I had one in LA years before that. The trend was at the time in LA was, hey, everyone's going back to amplifiers, organic, pedal boards. That was a trend 2 years before before hitting Nashville. So here I am moving here, being ahead of time. And so it's kind of a funny way to get into Nashville. Like, hey, if you think you're going to work this town, you better have something like that. And I go, well, I have that. It's not the thing anymore. It's the past, right? I'm moving forward. And so I did some sessions for Word Records and Inspirational, a couple of these different companies in town. And I'm sending in my invoice, and they go, hey, man, we don't pay people that much around here. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I said, that's what I make in LA for session. You go, well, we just don't, we'll pay you this time, but that's not what we pay our guys here in town. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever you want, pay me. So, it was kind of a weird change, but I'm here for 3 months, man. I'm hitting the streets almost every night, trying to meet people downtown, playing in clubs, hitting every kind of jam session to get started in Nashville, like everyone here is trying to make it. So it took about 3 months, and I got Anthony Joyner here, now the bass player in Nashville, said, Rico, go call this management company. You'd be great on this gig. So I called them, got an audition. I auditioned for Margaret Becker, my first Christian tour. Now that's when my life really started to change, and my relationship with God changed at that point too, because now I'm in a Christian environment. They weren't going to hire me because my resume was too big. Like, they go, you're not going to want to do this gig. I auditioned and they didn't call me back. And I'm thinking, I called them like, why am I, some of you may have had this experience out there, but I'm like, why, what's going on here? They love me. So I call them back and says, well, we can't pay you what you're used to making. I said, I don't care. I love the music. And so they said, well, we would love to have you. So come back down and we'll talk about it. So I went back down, we talked about it. They hired me. And that's when I rededicated myself. I was born again, I guess we could say, in a sense. I mean, it feels kind of weird for me to say that. I've always believed in God, but I guess I just rededicated myself. Yeah. And I was around them. I broke down in crying in prayer one night. We're all gathered around, and I just hit me so hard, and it changed my life from that point on. And that's where I was in a non-denominational church, getting fed in a much different way than the Catholic Church. And that started off my career in Nashville. Like, how many more years later now? So I can name you a zillion artists. Man, I just went from one artist to another. I toured with, Margaret Becker and the Susan Ashton Becker Dente thing. I did that. I toured with Charlie Peacock. Charlie made me a solo artist on one of his first label, Rethink. I love Charlie. He was my best man at my wedding when I got married. Aww. Yeah, just a wonderful man. And then through all that time, there was struggle as well. I went through some times where they cut us all off of a tour and we had no work, and just bought a condo in Bellevue, and now I'm out of work. And it was it's one of them moments. And I'm like, what do I do? Charlie took me under his wing. He started giving me work and some sessions and whatever. And that led to another thing. So, it's funny how, this road we take, I'm kind of trying to condense things really quickly, but
we're gonna have to bring you back.
Well, yeah, but it's like, another moment was, you're doing so well and you're getting all this stuff, and all of a sudden you have a little break. God says, slow down a little bit. You slow down. I get a call from Petra, and they're like, hey man, we'd like to come down and talk to you about being in our group, and this is towards the end of their days. Right. So I go down, I interview with them. They go, how do you feel about being part of a band and doing radio interviews and doing all this kind of stuff with us? This time I was just a freelance musician. I didn't care about any of that stuff. I just want to play.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And maybe I didn't show enough enthusiasm about it because I was looking for work. And so it was between me and Lincoln Brewster. And Lincoln, I guess, came to town, ended up doing it, and I didn't do it. But, it's another God thing, because just like Lenny Kravitz and Mike Damian thing. But, it's like, I didn't get that, but I got a call like weeks later to audition for DC Talk. So think about it. I mean, Petra was amazing. I mean, they're classic and they've been around, but the rock thing was kind of dying out, was kind of coming to an end. And DC Talk was just coming up with Jesus Freak. I mean, they were just blowing up.
Yeah.
And so
I still remember that Dove Award show when they came out and everyone was like, what is this? What sound is this? They changed CCM, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
But go on.
Yeah. So it's an interesting story because, I was heartbroken in a sense that I didn't get it, but then again, God put this in front of me. I had to audition, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of mad at Toby because he's heard me play at festivals never before that. I was like, why do I have to audition? But anyway, it was kind of fun because I wore my Les Paul down to my knees and a grungy beanie and just like grungy clothes. I went in and I started jumping around and I just doing all that crazy grunge stuff. And at the end, he's like, I didn't know you could do that. Like, I didn't know you could play. You know what I mean? Like, I guess because I've been such a chameleon, it's like, oh, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to do. Okay, I'm going to do that. Like, in music, you have to, if you want to have longevity and survive, you got to do it all. And so basically, I got it. It was a weekend long of auditions and it just was meant to be. And I was like, at that point, I'm like, thank you, God. Like, I mean, not that I would have loved and been honored to play with Petra, but it kind of took me to where this is really where I'd like to be in my career. And so I toured DC Talk for a fall tour, thought I was going to end my touring at that point. I was about to get married. No, I'm sorry. After DC Talk, Michael W. Smith.
Smitty.
So Smitty called me. So I got a call from Smitty about coming down and talking to them about possibly being on their tour. And so at that point, I really was going to stay in town, do sessions, produce, and do what I wanted to do. Didn't want to go. I was tired of many years on the road. And Smitty, it's kind of hard to turn down Smitty. And I thought, well, maybe I could do this, like they made me a great offer. Maybe I could do this some more. So, there I go again, another year, and I'm out on the road. During the time I got married and then we were going to have a baby. And, it got to a point to where at the end of Smitty's tour, I was really ready to stay off the road. Yeah. And I made this decision to do that. But God is still working here in my life, and God says, well, hey, we're going to put something else in your lap now. And I get a call from Shania Twain's office. I'm thinking, oh my Lord, what, what do I do? My wife's going to have a baby and, I can't go out. So I turned it down. Wow. I said, no, I can't do this. But Brent, the guitar player DC Talk, ended up doing it, that we were working with DC Talk. So he did it. So I'm glad he got a great gig out of everything. And that was kind of the end of my touring for a while. And I, stayed around and had a family and did that for a bit before going back on the road again. But I led that and then, led to CC Winans and Clay Cross, Rachel Lampa, and a bunch of other artists after that. But yeah, I've just had the opportunity through all these years to work with so many great people. A lot of the current artists, got to work with Danny Goki some and Mandisa, and just a whole, I can't even think of, there's so many different people, Francesca Battistelli, and just many of them.
No, that's a good trajectory. Let's change it up a bit, because we can definitely talk about these well-known artists all day long. But what impressed me, and this is just something that I noticed in you, and kind of you shared this once. I've noticed how genuine you are with people, how down to earth you are with those people who, I don't want to call them fans, but people who really do. They enjoy following you. They enjoy listening to you. They enjoy supporting whatever social media you have. As a matter of fact, we have a few out here. If you want to do shout outs, we got a few that I can pull up.
Okay.
For example, we have, I think, South Carolina. What did I read here?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
North Carolina. We have well, hello.
Wow. Kimberly.
All the way from North Carolina. Hugs from our favorite music man in Nashville. It's because she hasn't met me yet. No, just kidding.
Oh, yeah, right.
I haven't. I
You're the true rock star.
I got to get back into the music scene. But it's funny that you mentioned Smitty because he is the voice that I heard as a kid on the radio. And like, Mama, I want to be a rock star now. And, so if we could ever get it on this show, if you can help me get him on my show,
yeah, man,
I would owe you the world, Rico.
Oh yeah, bro.
Anyway,
yeah, bro.
Next one, we got.
That'd be amazing.
Cole Marcus, you're such an inspiration.
Cole!
And you know it's true.
Love you, man.
It's true. Everyone who knows you that I've met who knows you has nothing but good things to say about you. Even the people who've toured with you.
Wow, thank you all. That's amazing.
And Kimberly again.
Yeah. So Kimberly is wonderful. I love Kimberly. She said, Kimberly, hello, you're amazing. She's doing a lot of acting right now.
Oh, really?
And producing movies and everything. Oh yeah, she's wonderful. She's a good friend. And Cole Marcus is like an unbelievable prodigy drummer. Yeah, brilliant, young man. He's I've known him since he was just a little kid. You know, yeah, him and his parents we've been best friends for years. But yeah, you got to have him on your show sometime. He's truly amazing.
Hey, I would love to. Wait, Cole Marcus.
Yeah, the Mercy Me movie. He was in Mercy Me movie. He's a drummer that played.
I think I have seen him. Does he live here?
No, he's in LA.
Okay, in LA. Fun fact: I'm also involved. Well, we used to be involved in film. Then I got involved in theater here, and now I'm doing my own live stream show, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. But are there any stories of just that you would like to share about maybe any, I don't want to call them fans, but someone like after a show who shared their story with you and just really touched you and you're like, wow, I'm glad I get to do this?
In what way? Because there's different stories, yeah.
That is fair. That is kind of broad.
Like wanting to do what I do, more or less?
Or, okay. Well, I didn't want to get too much into this, but I guess we can go and just go there. But like, let's say after a show, you strike me as the kind of person who likes to meet everyone, who likes to be around and give hugs. You know, just because you're done performing doesn't mean, all right, it's time for me to just take my check and go on to whatever.
So true.
You like to be tangible. You like to be just a real person with your fans. And so that kind of exposes you to be real with everyone, to get to give hugs, to give pictures, selfies, whatever. Has there ever been someone who just stuck out that they might have told you, you know what, I'm glad you did this to me because just you being a positive influence helped change me in a way, or just gave me any kind of encouragement? By
the way, don't try to ever hug David Crowder. I'm just kidding. I love David. He's awesome. He doesn't like hugs though. But yeah, man. All the time, man. There's all kinds of stories. And you know, there's also the stories of young musicians that I get to inspire out there that will come up to me after the show and a lot of times just in other places. It could be on the West Coast, it could be the South, it could be East Coast, it could be anywhere where they just like, you know, I've told many people like, you need to move to Nashville because they say, why? How can I make it? How can I do this, what you're doing? I said, you got to move to Nashville. And I'm telling you, they listen to me. It's unbelievable. They go, and I've met people visiting someone's church one time, numerous times actually, where they come up to me, hey, Rico, hey, man, thank you so much because of what you said in your words to me when you told me that I need to move to Nashville to pursue a career in music, that I'm actually here and I'm doing well and I'm playing music. And if it wasn't for you to encourage me to come here, I wouldn't be here. It's all through God, of course, we know that. It's in God's hands, but we're a vehicle, you know. And so I was able to, just lead some people in some ways to come here. There's stories of, I've had young lady come up to me that was struggling with a lot of stuff she shouldn't have been doing in her life. And I can't even go into it because it's so graphic in some senses, that it's just like, but these are the kind of people you touch, and you sit there and you talk to them, and they come up to you and they want to hug you, and they want to say, thank you so much. Or like after, when I'm signing, like I'd stay after my signing and go sit and pray with someone for 30 minutes around the corner with a woman and her young child or teenage girl that is on the streets now, that lost their family and their husband, and they're struggling. And so I get these very touching stories, and that's why I go up there. It's not just to hear people come up and say, man, you're a rock star, man, you are so great. That's good to hear that people like it, but it's not the reason, it's not why we're there. And if we can grab them, and I say, why do you come to me? Like, you can go to our lead singer, Russ Lee. He's amazing, and he'll sit there and pray for you for days and whatever. But it's like, I just felt led to come to you, and I get a lot of that. And so I don't know why. It's a God thing. I guess they feel they can talk to me, and I'm a listener, and I care, So that, it's wonderful, man. We get a lot of that. So.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm curious here.
Yeah.
When did you become Rico Thomas?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say the old name?
Yes.
From Richard Thomas Madariaga.
Come on, you can say it. Yeah,
Madariaga.
That's the best I've ever heard it. Okay.
I got it right the first time you gave it to me, but right now on the spot.
Yes. Well, back playing in my club days, we were playing in Huntington Beach. There was a place called Franco's, and the lead singer was introducing everybody in the band, and it was like, hey, on drums we got who was it? Oh, on bass we got Dan, so it was like Dano, and then on keyboards we got Mark, so it was Marco, and then there was the drummer who was the drummer? Anyway, it was an O after everyone's name, and I think he got to me, and he was like, he couldn't say Richardo, so he just came up with Rico, and everyone laughed, and at the time, Rico Suave was such a big thing. It's like Rico on guitar, and it stuck, man. It's just one of those things that stuck. I almost tried to get rid of it when I moved to Nashville. I just made it Richard Thomas. I thought nobody in the South's going to be able to pronounce my name correctly. I might as well just use my middle name as a last name. So it all stemmed from a club date. So
I think whenever I first met you, because you mentioned you were Latino, and I was like, or maybe our mutual friend mentioned.
Yeah.
So I just always assumed it was Rico Thomas instead of instead of Thomas, Rico Thomas. Rico Thomas. Situation.
I had Spanish father, Italian. I guess he was mixed. Had some mix, and my mother was Irish, her side of the family. So I'm kind of like a little hybrid of the two, and so got the Hispanic kind of last name. And then, people started pulling in Rico, and that even made it sound more Hispanic. So that's a little bit of my heritage.
I got to highlight this guy right here.
Yeah, man.
Love the hairstyles on this episode.
Dude, yours rocks, man. You look good like that. I like it.
So, I heard a rumor.
Yeah.
That you love kung fu fighting, that you're in the martial arts. Let's unpack that a little bit. Tell me about your love for martial arts.
Well, it came from me getting beat up as a kid a bunch. That's how it started. Yeah. I grew up in San Pedro, man, which is a rough LA area, seaside town, and just gangs. The Weemas gang, the Mexican gang from Wilmington, and you got the Crips. The Compton gang, like down the road about 15 more minutes, and so everyone coming in, and people, as a young kid getting pushed on my bike and punched in the face and jumped by gangs, and I had this growing up, and so I had to defend myself. But then I wanted to learn what I was doing, just like I did with music. I started out by ear playing guitar, and then if you get to some point, you go, I want to understand what I'm doing, so you start studying, and so I started studying kung fu first, and at the Tai Manus Kung Fu in Torrance, California. And this is a great story because my teacher was Cam Yon, Master Cam Yon, who was the choreographer, worked on a series Kung Fu with David Carradine back.
Really?
Yeah. So he was part of that.
Grasshopper.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I grew up watching those.
Me too. I loved it. I always wanted to be, David Carradine in that movie. Humble guy that, you don't ever pick a fight with someone, but when they start picking a fight with you, you just like lay them out. Like, boom, you're done. But so I started studying there for about 3.5 years. And then I got, man, I want to get more aggressive, So I went over to Dan Insano's school, who was one of Bruce Lee's #1 students. And his was in Gardena. And so it was a little school at the time. It was like really, really tough, man. It was like, they'll put you in the circle with the whole class and they all jump you. One of those kind of rooms, just, okay, your turn. Then we're going to start punching on you. And then you got to defend yourself and get out of it and whatever. Yeah. And so I did that for a year and I go, man, I don't like this anymore. So I left. And then right after that, Dan opened up the school, the IMB Academy in Torrance with Richard Bastiglia, who is another martial artist. And they collaborated. So I started going over there. It's a little more tame, but they taught kickboxing, Jeet Kune Do, all the Bruce Lee stuff, Filipino, stick fighting, knife fighting, all that kind of stuff. And so I was able to, man, it's such a blessing to have those kind of teachers, in my life. And so I went over there, did that for probably another 3 years or so. And then I left there. And then pretty much I did some like backyard Wing Chun with some guy up in Culver City for about 8 months, and then I dropped out of it. I didn't do it for many, many years, didn't care about it. And then not too far back, maybe 4 years ago, I stopped studying Krav Maga in Nashville. So I studied Krav Maga.
Where did you go for that?
Well, it was Nashville Krav Maga and BJJ. So it was over there in Berry Hill, and then moved to Franklin. So I did that. I got like 3 belts in that. I did that, and I loved it. I was doing some BJJ in that as well. I was studying that over there, and got beat. You kind of get injured a lot. I broke a finger, and just bruised up every night. And just like, I worked out 5 nights a week. I'd go all the time, man. So what happened was I was on stage playing Winter Jam, and I fell off the stage, and I broke both my feet. I cracked the bone, and I hit the cement. And so I was messed up for a year. During that year, the school moved to Franklin, and I'm not driving from East Nashville to Franklin, man. That's like way too far. So that was kind of the end of it. And that was probably about 4 years ago, and I stopped doing that. So yeah, so I just love the arts, man. I just, it's another interest for me. I always wanted to be a martial art teacher and a musician at night,
I had a goal, or have a goal still, and I shared my weight loss journey earlier on in my show, but I'm trying to get back to my college weight, and once I hit my college weight, then I want to start looking for a Krav Maga training, and I saw the one in Franklin, so I didn't know they were originally there, and so I'm like, you know what? Once I get back to my college weight, I would like to just join, just train, maybe not every day like you, but at least 2 to 3 times a day, just to, it's something about being able to know that I can defend myself. I know how to take a hit. I played football. I know how to take a hit.
Yeah,
but
I did that.
I also want to know how to disarm a person, especially these days. You never know. That might come in handy.
Oh man, it's great. It's one of the best self-defense programs. I love it. I miss it, truly.
All right. Well, I know I was going to mention the story, but you know what? I might just have to say that for another time because the time is going, and I really want to get in these last questions before we call it a night. So, Rico, as you know, in my show, I like to give value to my listeners. I like them to learn disciplines so that they can put into practice and become more of a valuable person. And so one of my favorite things to ask all my guests is, what disciplines or habits have become canon in your day-to-day? Day-to-day?
Man, I tell you, this my almost for this highest, this little book here, that's a big part of my day, man. I mean, there was something I read just the other day It was unbelievable. It just related to so much as yesterday, I think, related so much to what's going on in the world right now. So, I like to start my day off with this and then get into the word if I can. Read through some Proverbs or Psalms or something like that. But yeah, this has been a big thing. Being creative is very a big part of my day as well. I like to come up here in the studio and work on projects. I'm working on a new record right now. I've seen in the studio with drummer Aaron Smith. Aaron's a great drummer. You need to have him on the show. He's worked for like Motown and the 77s, Rich Mullins, and he played on DC Talk record. Like Aaron has done like
Rich Mullins was someone that I really, really admired. And I mean, getting to hear his story after the fact. But yeah, wow. No, definitely.
So Aaron is, so he's working with me on this new record. It's a blues record, actually. So it's interesting. Yeah, it's a combination. It's kind of like I've listened to a lot lately is like Jack White, and it's like a cross between Jack White, Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and it's just going to be a little bit different. So that's what we're working on. But yeah, so being creative. Another part of my day is exercise. That's a very big part of my life, and a healthy lifestyle, because we got to keep ourselves up, man. If we're going to be on the road, as long as I've been doing it, like you got to keep your health up. You got to work out. You got to eat right. And these are just disciplines I've carried on through my whole life, vitamin regimens and, just anything to keep you going. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, then to carry on. Yeah. What is one simple thing or piece of advice that our listeners can start practicing today that'll help make them the rock star of tomorrow?
Oh man. Oh gosh. I'd say, man, believe in yourself, and just hang in there and like I've done. There's been sometimes I felt like quitting, but if you quit, you'll never get there. So it's longevity, right? The ones that don't give up and quit are the ones that continue to do what they love to do.
Yeah.
And I've been down and out so many times in my career, like not a lot of money and just barely getting by. And so I didn't give up. So I would say just be consistent and keep the hope and faith alive, in Jesus Christ, and believe that he'll walk you through this time. I mean, he has me, in times of doubt. He's led me, he's grabbed me by the hands. Come on, get up, we're going. And thank God I did. I mean, there was, even before New Song, 19 years of New Song, I felt like there were some times where I went to medical school for a year to I was going to do something different. I do music for fun. And that was over 19 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. I had a family. I thought I'm just going to stay home and do a normal job. And I'm done with this maybe, but I got these calls, man. I got all these calls all of a sudden. CC Winans called, and I went over for a year with her. And so I say, don't give up. Just keep going. All the younger guys out there, man, just keep, do it for the love of music. The money will come. Don't worry about the money. Just try to get by. God will provide. And he even does until this day. We're all struggling right now. COVID's been a horrible thing, but God is providing for us. We're getting through it, and we're going to. So just believe in yourself, be strong.
I'm saving money by not getting haircuts anymore.
Hey, man, I'm with you. I don't have to do any of that anymore. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? What time is it? I can share. Okay, I'm going to share the story that I promised everyone.
Yeah.
Just to show you how I really am not in touch with. If you're someone big, I probably don't know you. But so Rico gives me a call, or he texts me and say, "Hey, we're going downtown. We're gonna go to this local place downtown to listen to some music. Are you up for it?" A few of the other guys are gonna show up. Alex and
God, who was with us? I'm trying to remember now.
No. Well, I'm not sure if I can say his name. It was Randall. But anyway,
yeah.
So, and you know what? Go. I'll be getting off of work, but this time I can just walk down there, meet you guys. And sure enough, I walked down there, met up with you guys at this little local bar, and walked in there. The music was good. I didn't know what was going on, but then afterwards, we're just in the back, and the guy who's playing just kind of comes up to you, or comes up, and you get up and start talking to him like nothing, and like, okay, it must be someone he knows. Again, remember, I don't know who people are.
Yeah.
And Randall's like, oh man, he just kind of looked at him like, you did a good job, and the guy's, oh, thank you, man. And then y'all took a picture, and like, I guess must be old friends I don't know anything about, and that's how the night went that night. We kind of walked out, and we kind of walked a little bit downtown, but you know, when you live here in Nashville, downtown is not really somewhere you want to be.
Yeah.
But then the next day is when they officially launched Live on the Green, which is a free event that used to happen whenever.
Yeah, man.
Pre-COVID, you know. So Alex like, hey man, Rico's gonna be there. We're gonna go just listen to the music. And like, okay, cool. I'll get off of work and I'll meet you guys there. And I met up with Alex, and we met up with you after the show. But we're just sitting there playing, or just sitting there, or just standing there listening to the music. And all of a sudden, he's up there playing. Like, hey, that guy looks familiar. I look at Alex like, where did I know this guy from? And I was like, are you serious? Are you serious? You
yeah. Do you want to tell him who it was?
I'll let you tell him.
Terry Clark Jr., wasn't it?
It was.
Or Gary Clark.
Gary Clark Jr.
Gary Clark Jr., yeah.
Well, when I shared that story at work, everyone like, you met him and you didn't know who he was? Like, no, sorry. He was just a nice guy, and he's a heck of a good guitar player.
Yeah, he was up there jamming, man. That was great. That was down at Roberts, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roberts, man. I love that place. A lot of great talent there.
But you never know who you'll see walking downtown or playing in just your local bar there. You know?
No kidding.
Nashville. So the final question is,
man.
Mr. Rico Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Thomas. Where can people find more about you?
Well, of course, you know, like Spotify, iTunes, and Amazon. All of these different outlets have my music, my solo music, and of course, the New Song on newsongonline.com is where you'll see my affiliation with New Song and our records that we do, and anything about New Song, our shows, whatever. But other than that, you know, you got Facebook at Rico Thomas. You know, Facebook. You can find me there. You can find me on Twitter at Rico TM. I also have a LinkedIn account with a bunch of my history there, all that kind of stuff. At Twitter, it's Rico New Song, at Rico New Song on Twitter. But yeah, so those are the main places.
Look who popped up.
Oh my gosh.
Alex Tinker the Fourth.
Oh, nice, man. Look at that. Oh man, miss you, Alex. We gotta get together, man.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, y'all both went to the same service on Sunday.
I thought I saw him there. Yeah, man. I'll tell you, man. That the belonging has got some worship. I tell you, it's amazing.
Oh, we got one more shout out, and of course, we had the fan page Rico Thomas Rocks on Facebook.
That's right. Thank you, Kimberly, for.
So be sure to go there, like, follow, and get into community with good people.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, Rico, man, it's been a pleasure having you here. Don't go away. Let me just get the closing thoughts, and then we'll chat a little bit.
That sounds good.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Rico Thomas, episode 17, interview with a rock star. Man, I hope you got some good gems. He's a man who has a lot of experience. But anyway, Hey Rockstar, as you know, is this is a live stream, but we also have a podcast that releases every Monday after the show. So this show will be on podcast format next week on Monday. So if you are a podcaster, go and check out some of our old shows. Just simply type in Hey Rockstar with a 5 instead of an S, which has to do with the 5 disciplines that I'm working on. And if you are watching this on Facebook, I would like to encourage you to go to Low Budget Productions. That is the mother umbrella over our podcast. Hey Rockstar is an affiliated with them, and there's other podcasts involved with them. Go check it out. You might find some new show you like to listen to. And if you are a podcaster looking for a community to be part of, reach out to us. Or if you want to know, hey, how can I start my own podcast? I'm curious to know how this works. We are in not so much a business, but we are in a community where we are helping each other out. We're trying to constantly just grow our family because we believe everyone has a message to share, and why not do a podcast? If I can figure it out, so can you. So everyone, thank you once again for coming back and checking us out. This has been a great show. I'm going to pull up Rico one more time. Oops, let's see. Boom. So all the way, let me unmute him too, poor guy. So all the way from Nashville to your homes, to your cars, to your hearts. This is Rico, Miguel, and myself, Josafat Emiliano, telling everyone or wishing that you guys have just much love.
Yeah, man.
And many blessings.